Hey guys, this is Claudia here from the Bookkeeping Experts. I am back for more. By now, school is back in full force. Kids are back to school. We had a wonderful last week in Park City, Utah, with the family, and we had a wonderful time. Hopefully, you were able to enjoy this time with your family. And now it's time to focus on getting all those books ready for the end of the year. Of course, you need to get them ready to file your taxes, to give it to your accountant. But more important than that, you want to make sure your books are up to date and correct for your own information, so you know your point of reference. We always talk about the point of reference, and what that is knowing exactly where you are, so you know exactly how to aim your goals, where to put your efforts to grow your business. So point of reference is very, very important. It's like looking at a map and knowing exactly where you are and where you want to go. And from there, you can set up how you're going to get to where you want to go. So very important. And today we're going to talk about a few tools that will help you expedite cleaning your books, especially if you were on vacation, if you enjoy summer a little too much and didn't have the time to get into your books to catch up with the work. So we're going to talk about rules today. Rules are a way to expedite the categorization in your bank feed, and also to get everything done a lot more efficiently. However, you do need to be very cautious using rules, because some of the rules, or the way you set up the rules, may cause actually more problems than solutions. Okay, so that's what we're going to talk about today. And without much further ado, we are going to QuickBooks Online. All right, here we are. Let me maximize the screen here. We have our simple company, and we have a few transactions here that are income, and a few transactions that are expenses. Now, keep in mind, for income transactions, if you do invoice your clients, and you record a payment, you want to make sure that you match them, just like this one. See, it's matching. Now, before you match, you want to check a few things. You want to verify a few things. Number one, you want to make sure, if it is a deposit, you want to make sure that the dates are right, the amounts are right. And if you have doubts because you have the same payment for several clients, you can actually click on the amount, and then you can click on this blue deposit, and it's going to open up the transaction so you can verify. Okay, oh yeah, this is it. This is the right one. So yeah, I can match this. Okay. With the check is the same thing. You want to make sure that this is the right date, right? For the right person as well. So you can click on the check over here. This check was written through QuickBooks, so you'll be able to see exactly what the check was for. All right. Okay, so that's one of the things you should know, that if there is bill enter, if there's checks that you enter through QuickBooks, you want to make sure you match them. You don't want to create any rules for those, because that's not gonna help you. One more thing to know is that you should never, ever set rules for checks. And the reason why is because QuickBooks does not read check. So with that being said, in checks you always have to go over them. All right. So never set rules for checks. Just for ACH, for your credit card or debit card transactions, but never for checks. Okay. All right, so let's take a look at a rental here. A rental, we have both an income and an expense. One thing that could have happened here is that a rental could be an equipment rental for our sample company here, and then maybe they got a refund, or maybe they gave a deposit included on the $1,200, and then once they returned the equipment, they received that $200 back as a deposit return for returning the equipment up to date. So let's suppose that a rental, when it's expense, is always the same thing, is going to be equipment rental. So I'm going to click over here and I'm going to create a rule right from the bank feed. Oh yes, by the way guys, if you don't know where I am, on the left hand side, banking. Okay, now this is the accountant view. If you have the business view, all right, so it's a little different. You're gonna go into bookkeeping and then transactions, and then it's gonna say review categories, and then it goes one by one. So I don't like this way to do things, or you can skip things for now, and then but here it's gonna go one transaction at a time on the business view. I don't like this way, so I want to be a little bit more efficient. Um, so I like to go straight to the bank feed so we can see everything at the same time. But I like the accountant view as well, so I'm going to switch back to accountant view, and you can switch back and forth like without any problem. So I'm clicking on the $1,200 here, and I didn't enter any bill for this rental, for a rental. So I am going to create a rule. So I never, keep in mind, if you create a bill in the system, you don't want to create a rule. Those are just transactions that go straight to your bank as either an electronic withdrawal or a debit card transaction. Never a check, just electronic debit card, credit card. All right, so I am going to say that this is a rental, and we don't have a rental, so we're gonna add new a rental, and I don't have to. This is adding a new vendor. I don't need to enter all the details right now. I can just save it, and that's okay. And then on uncategorized expense, because that's automatically going to categorize with something. Never trust what QuickBooks automatically categorizes, because that's AI and it's not accurate. It's not 99% of the time. It's not going to be accurate. It's just trying to read from a prior transaction, and it most likely not going to be right. So I'm going to go ahead and select the right category right here by clicking on the arrow, and I'm gonna say it's equipment rental. Okay, there you go. It is an expense. I could select a customer if this is related specifically to a job, but I don't have to. Or you can enter tags if you want. We have a video on tags, right? If you want to tag like a specific job or a project, and you want to make sure you know how much you're spending on that, but you don't have to. We're gonna click on this little icon that says create a rule right next to this icon here, and I'm gonna call it a rental. So don't have to be very creative here. And where it says apply this transaction to money out, okay, only, I can do money in or I can do money out, but this one is money out because it's an expense. And here's selecting just a checking account, but I can actually select all bank accounts and credit cards. That's fine, I can do that, okay? If I feel pretty confident that sometimes I pay with a different form of payment, but it's always going to be this categorization, yes. Okay, you can actually click on test a rule, and it's going to tell you that's going to be so many transactions. Here's 2 transactions that's going to be automatically categorized. And then so I have the category expense, category is specified here, and the pay is very important. I want to make sure I have a rental here, so you need to put the pay. The customer, not so much, because only if it is attached to a specific client job that you want to record, If not, you don't, because sometimes you rent an equipment and you use for multiple jobs. So that's why we don't necessarily select that. Okay, I'm gonna leave it as auto add because I am 100% confident about this transaction. So it's always going to be the same. It's always going to be equipment rental or return of equipment rental, but I'm doing just the money out, not the money in. I can create a separate rule for money in, but I can't do both at the same time. Okay, and here it's saying that every time I say a rental is going to categorize as equipment rental, and the pay is a rental, and, um, and, and it's going to be automatically done. So I'm going to save it here, and QuickBooks will automatically add those rules for me. Oh, how cool is that? It is wonderful. But of course, if it is received, means that it's a deposit. It's not going to categorize because it's money in, not money out. So for this one, I have to create a different rule. Now, keep in mind that if I categorize the initial expense as equipment rental, I am going to do the same with the money in. Okay, so I'm gonna do all bank accounts. Okay, and I'm gonna put a rental. Okay, and it says he's include the following, all means a rental, and on the description contains a rental. Okay, so that everything is good, and it says money in here. That's what I'm looking for, right? So it's gonna be a deposit, and of course I didn't select the category so far, but I know that the initial expense was equipment rental. So this one is gonna be the exact same thing because I want to reverse that expense. Unless I break down the initial transaction is partially equipment rental and partial rental deposit or whatever, if you want to track that. Now keep in mind that I won't be able to do a rule if that's the case. I would have to manually do one by one because we have multiple or split categories. But in this case, it's simpler, and you can do that, and the end result is the same. So it's going to reverse that expense by $200. And any time that I return an equipment, I get refunded the deposit. It will automatically categorize that. I only have one transaction with money in with a rental. I'm gonna save it. Ooh, so I will have to rename this something else because the other rule is the same name, so I can put a rental deposit refund. Okay, there you go. Now it works because if you put the exact name, it's not gonna let you. All right. So if for some reason you realize, okay, a rental is no longer just um, one kind of transaction. There's different things that I do with a rental. Sometimes it's equipment purchase, sometimes it's supplies. So I can't leave that outer rule in there. So I need to either modify. How do I modify that? So see on the top, banking app transaction and rules. I'm gonna click here under rules, and my rules are gonna be here. And one thing that I want you to observe is that if it is auto add, it's gonna have that green little page with the plus sign, means that is automatically added to your QuickBooks without you reviewing that. It's kind of dangerous, but if you know exactly what you're doing, it's fine. Like I said, you don't want to create auto rules. I had a client one time who created auto rules for checks. So because QuickBooks doesn't read checks, it categorized checks under the same thing. Every single check that came through, it categorizes the same thing, which was incorrect. So that was a nightmare to clean that up. Basically, we have to undo everything that she did to be able to categorize everything correctly. So more work than just doing from scratch. So that's why you gotta be careful careful with your rules. Okay, so you can, if you need to edit the rule, you can click on edit. Let's suppose that you don't want to do it auto add anymore because you want to take a look at it first. See, 90% is equipment rental, but sometimes you may have something else. So you can undo the auto add so you can go over the transactions before you actually add them. Okay, and then there's an arrow right next to edit. If you want to delete this altogether because you decided, I can't have a rule for a rental because I have multiple kinds of transaction. I want to split the category between deposit and between equipment rental, whatever it is that you decide to do that this is no longer working for you, you can either disable or you can delete this rule. Okay, when you delete, it's all gone. And if you want to do it again, you can create the rule from here, or you can create the rule right from banking. Okay, awesome. So this is rules for you. Rules rule. Okay, sorry for the dad joke here, but anyhow, it really is very useful if you know how to use rules to categorize your transaction. It will help you tons, tons. It will save you tons of time, and time is money. And for business owners, you want to make sure that everything is automated as much as you can. And of course, like I said, you got to be careful with those rules. And sometimes QuickBooks will try to create rules for you by, if you categorize the same thing over and over again, including like checks, it's gonna say, "Oh, do you want to create a rule for this? Oh, look, because you can't categorize the same thing. So if you want to create a rule, just click here." And a lot of my clients do that because it's just so intuitive, right? QuickBooks is telling you to do that, but don't. Don't do that. Make sure before you set up a rule, especially with AutoAdd, that the rule is correct. It means that if it is a vendor that you always purchase the same thing over and over and over again, never purchase something different, it's okay to set the rule, and it's okay to put it in auto add. It's really okay. Here in Florida is Duke Energy. Duke Energy is always going to be electricity. Always, always, always going to be electricity. So I can set that rule. It's fine. And it's going to be an electronic, it's not a check or anything. So, because checks cannot be read, like I said. So I can create that rule. I can create rules for certain expenses that I have. But let's suppose if it is Amazon, and on Amazon you purchase all kinds of things. Sometimes it's cost of goods sold, sometimes it's office supplies, sometimes it's whatever, whatever you purchase for the business. Keep in mind that if you purchase private, personal things, you don't want to do that. You do not want to do that. I always tell my clients, don't do that. Don't purchase personal things in your business credit card or bank account, because it really makes things complicated for your account, for your bookkeeper, and also if you're ever audited, IRS does not like to see personal transaction mixed up. But anyhow, back to rules. Make sure if you have any question, just write down below and I'll be able to address that to you right away. And if you would like some further help with that, let's suppose you have something that is, it's pretty much over your head. You can't get caught up by yourself. I do offer tutorials, so you can hire me to do a one-on-one tutorial, or to clean up your books or do some catch-up, so you can go from there. If you want to, like, I got enough of this, I gotta focus on my business, I want somebody to take care of my books, yeah, we can help you as well. So I have my information down below. Just contact us, we can help you out with that. Thanks for watching. Thanks for spending this time with me. It really makes me happy when I see that all my efforts into putting this content for you, to making your life easier, is helping somebody else. I want to see you succeed. That's one of the biggest um, thrills of life for me. It makes me happy. So write down below if you have any questions. Share this video with your friends, with your co-workers, with anybody you want, with your family members, with the world. We want to come back for more, and we want to help as many people as possible. So share, 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 share. Subscribe to our channel. We're back pretty much every week, except when we go to Park City. Sorry. And enjoy our time with our family. But other than that, we're back every week to give you more content and more answers to your questions that you can't find elsewhere. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next week. Until then, keep on smiling.